Hi, I'm Anne Pollard, and this is the reading of my book, Cleo's Fabulous Adventures, The Realm of the Woods, Chapter 20, Raguel the Ram. After the amazing exit of the quails, Bacchus turned to Cleo. Cleo, we have quite a journey ahead of us now. Perhaps we should move on. Cleo nodded, still with a smile and laugh on her lips. Bacchus turned to follow the new path away from the thickets. They walked and talked for a long time, watching the landscape become sparser. There were huge mountains on the horizon. Cleo asked, "Are we going up there?" Bacchus nodded. Cleo sighed. The path led them to the base of the mountain. As they looked up to take in the awe-inspiring view, they could see the caps of the mountains covered in snow. "I'm not sure I'm dressed for this, Bacchus," said Cleo. "Don't worry," said Bacchus. "I will always ensure you're safe and warm." As the path led them up the mountain, the rocks formed the perfect staircase. As they ascended the mountain, they could see the landscape that reached for the sky. Snow lined the circular pattern of the mountain. It was a tapestry of rock, snow, rock, snow. Even though their path was quite easy to maneuver, the rest of the mountain landscape was filled with jagged edges and small ledges that were only a few inches wide in some cases. The snow became deeper all around them, but their path was clear. It was so cold, but Cleo could not feel any sense of chill. Bacchus glided up the path as he always did, with stealth and ease, his shoulders moving rhythmically with his body. "This is so beautiful, Bacchus," said Cleo. Bacchus nodded in agreement. "Not only are the mountains beautiful, Cleo," he said, "they are also very spiritual. Mountains hold ancient wisdom and can reveal your life's purpose. They run along the grid lines of the earth, and they hold powerful energy. The grid lines are aligned across the whole of your earth. Many of your ancient temples and pyramids were built along these grid lines. You can feel the energy when you're there. And this is one of those places. Feel the energy, Cleo. It's very powerful." "I do feel something very different," Cleo said. "Maybe I can find my life purpose while we're here." Bacchus nodded. They continued to ascend the mountain. It was so quiet. No sounds, no animals, just a slight breeze blowing across the snow. The path wove a circular pattern around the mountain as they climbed their staircase. Turning a corner, they could see a large animal coming towards them. He was amazingly agile as he walked across the mountain, sure-footed, even when there was only a few inches of mountain cliff to traverse. Bacchus looked over and said, "Ah, Raguel, so wonderful to see you in this beautiful, amazing place." Cleo looked up to see a huge ram standing above them. He was an incredible sight. He was much larger than Bacchus, with strong legs and a firm body. His horns were incredible. They grew from the center of the top of his head, very thick at the base, curving upwards and around to a downward spiral as they wrapped around his head. At his chin, they spiraled forward, ending in sharp points near his mouth. His body was layered in thick, cream-colored fur, and his face was pure white except for his black nose and eyes. He took on the glow of the bluest sky that stretched out behind him, radiating such a positive energy. "Hello, Bacchus," he said in a booming voice that reverberated across the mountain. "What a lovely day for you and Cleo to come. It is wonderful to see you both. Cleo, it is my honor to meet you." Cleo smiled and said, "Thank you, Raguel. It's my honor to meet you as well." Raguel continued, "I am pleased to show you this wonderful, magical place. Many amazing things have happened on this mountain. In fact, some may say it's life-changing. I hope it will be magical for you as well." Then Raguel looked over Cleo's shoulder and said, "Hello, Zuriel. I'm pleased you are here to protect our precious Cleo." Then he nodded back as Zuriel thanked him. Cleo, Raguel said, I'm demonstrating for you the concept of balance and harmony. Balance is obviously quite a key thing for rams. As we move across the mountain, we draw on universal balance to sustain our footing and to be in harmony with the mountains and the rocky peaks. Of course, that is physical harmony, which is also important for humans as well. Cleo, do you have balance and harmony in your life? Cleo smiled and said, well, I do try and balance my life so I don't work so much, but I find it hard most of the time. The demands from my job are quite a lot. Now it's even worse. Yes, said Raguel, I understand you have quite the challenge before you. And it's good that you acknowledge that you need harmony in your physical world. That is very important. But I am also speaking about the balance and harmony between your physical and spiritual world. As you know already, you are a soul first, living an adventure in a human body. And because you chose to come to Earth and play and have that adventure, you should do just that. Live the life that's offered on Earth. It is truly the only place in the universe where the adventure is as intense and emotional. Enjoy it and do everything you can to learn, play, and feel what's available. But also remember that your soul is always connected to your higher self, and that is always connected to all that is. So it's important for you to honor your spiritual path, as it is to be in harmony with your physical life. When you combine the spiritual with the physical, you will feel a new sense of harmony, and it will help you see the infinity that is all around you. So what would I need to do to have more harmony in my life, Raguel? Asked Cleo. That's a great question. First, don't take your physical life too seriously. Your Earth adventure was always supposed to be fun. To feel all the emotions and have all the experiences without getting too caught up in the dense stuff. It's important to feel that and honor those emotions, just don't dwell there for too long. And second, set aside your time for meditation and stillness. That's how you reconnect to your higher self and to all that is. That is your true state, after all. That unconditional love is your default. Connect to it every day. Then you'll be open to have guidance show you the way for your physical life. And that is the harmony I'm speaking of and how you can achieve it. Do you understand? Yes, I do, said Cleo. Many of the animals on this adventure have shown me ways to do that, and it always feels really good. No matter what else is happening in my life, I will set aside time to reconnect. I see why it's so important. Oh, that's great, Cleo, said Raguel. Then you're ready to charge ahead with your life and your next adventure. Yes, said Cleo. I'm just not sure exactly what that is yet. Do you think the mountain can help me understand my purpose? Bacchus said that a lot of people have found their purpose when they're here on the mountain. Raguel said, yes, that's true, Cleo. Many people have come here to understand themselves better and find new meaning to their lives. And you can do that too, of course. But I cannot tell you what your purpose is. I can only guide you to feel into it. But I will tell you a secret. Oh, please do, said Cleo. Raguel shook some of the snow off his face as he answered Cleo. Your real purpose is to be happy. That's really it. You may not see it, but when you're happy, you're raising your consciousness and you're shining your light to others. And that's what it's all about. And being in harmony with life makes you happy. Let go of trying to control things and just let things unfold before you. Listen to your intuition and your guides, and you will never go wrong. So, asked Cleo, I should use my intuition to help me find my real purpose? Raguel nodded in agreement. Think back, Cleo, to when you were talking to Netsatch. She asked about your joy, and you talked about how you love to work with animals. There are hundreds of ways that you can do that, you know. If that is your joy, then I can tell you that if you follow your intuition, your purpose will involve animals in some way. Following your joy will lead you to your purpose. Raguel then started to make his way down the mountain closer to Bacchus and Cleo. He moved with such grace and ease that you would never imagine the steep terrain he climbed down was so dangerous. His hooves were split and had a rough bottom, so his grip was incredible. He was almost face to face with Cleo when she took a slight step back, seeing him descend. As she moved backward, her heel got caught on a small rock and she began to lose her balance. She started leaning backward too far. As if in slow motion, she began to fall. Her head was spinning. She could not catch herself. As she was about to fall, she felt a mighty grip behind her. It was so large and strong, and it completely enveloped her. Before she could comprehend what was happening, the force pushed her back to a standing position. It was Azrael. Cleo stopped breathing and just stood there stunned. Then she felt something change inside of her. It started in her gut, spread up through her heart, and moved through her entire body. It was not anything that she could put into words. The energy that soared through her body was 1,000 times stronger than anything she had ever felt. In that moment, she not only felt what Azrael had done for her, she could see him with her human eyes. He was immensely tall, wearing a flowing white robe. His face was almost transparent with a brilliant light shining from his eyes. He had angel wings as large as his body, covered in snow-white feathers with glimmers of gold. He looked at her with eyes so loving that Cleo felt the most overwhelming sense of unconditional love imaginable. At that moment, she understood what Bacchus had said about seeing herself through the eyes of someone that loves you unconditionally. She took a breath and looked back at Azrael. She smiled with a radiance that she had never had before. "Azrael," she shouted, "I can see you. Thank you for saving my life." Azrael smiled back, his eyes still beaming with light, and then he said, "I have always been there for you, Cleo. I have watched you and protected you through all of your lifetimes. I am your guardian angel, and I will always protect you." Raguel jumped down to the step that Cleo stood on to make sure she was balanced and secure. Bacchus wrapped his tail around her to make sure that she knew he would always protect her. Cleo had never felt so safe and loved. Bacchus thought to himself, "She is now standing in her power," and he smiled. "Azrael," said Bacchus, "thank you for protecting our Cleo." Azrael nodded. "Well, that was quite amazing," said Raguel. "Perhaps, Cleo, you could do with a ride back down the mountain." Cleo was still gathering herself and trying to come to terms with what had just happened. She smiled at Raguel and said, "Thanks, Raguel. I think that would be a really good idea." Raguel leaned down so that Cleo could climb up on his back. As he stood up, he said, "Grab hold of my fur." Cleo grabbed his fur with both hands. It was so soft and warm. "Ready?" he asked. "Yes," she said. Raguel turned to begin the descent down the mountain. Bacchus and Azrael followed. As they made their way down the mountain, Cleo began feeling quite strong and empowered. Sitting on Raguel's back, she felt she was transforming from cocoon to butterfly and now beyond. The balance of masculine and feminine energy inside her was settling into a harmonious place. She felt like a queen, a goddess, as they moved closer to the base of the mountain. Bacchus saw the changes happening within her and felt her strength, saw her glow. He knew now that she would never be the same girl who started this adventure. She was now awakened to the secrets of the universe. They reached the base of the mountain. Cleo climbed down from Raguel's back and was happy to be standing on firm ground. Thank you, Gaia, she thought. Raguel turned to Cleo. That was truly an amazing adventure, Cleo. I'm honored that I was able to be part of your life-changing experience. Always remember to call on Ram Spirit when you need a firm footing. We are all here for you always, in every moment. You only need to ask for our help, and we will be there. Raguel then turned to Bacchus and Azrael and said, Bacchus, my dear friend, I will see you again soon, I hope. Azrael, thank you, and please continue to watch over our Cleo. Bacchus and Azrael both smiled and nodded back. Then Raguel turned and started climbing the mountain. He stopped to look back one last time, his mighty horns following the subtle bow of his head. The blue glow followed him as he turned back to ascend to the top of the mountain. Thank you for joining me. Have a fabulous day.